Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The big story that is breaking at this hour, the government has decided to hike the excise duty on petrol and diesel by 2 rupees each, but there is going to be no change for the consumer, for you and me. That's the Oil Minister, Hardeep Puri. Let's listen in.
Per barrel in the last day or so. But please remember that our oil marketing companies, with whose work I'm more familiar, but even the private sector companies, they carry inventories over a 45-day period. And if you go back to, say, early January, the crude price then was $83, which came down subsequently to $75. So the crude inventory that they're carrying is at $75 on an average per barrel. So, but if your question is going forward from here, if the price remains at $60 a barrel, as it is today or thereabouts, and I'm not going into the Indian basket or Brent, etc. I'm not going into that. Then can you legitimately expect prices of petrol and diesel to be moderated by the oil marketing companies in keeping with the global price? To which my answer would be yes. In a deregulated sector, you can expect them to accordingly adjust the market retail price. But that's not the only reason why I've called you here. I have requested you to come because we have also had to look at some other areas for decision making. And I want to draw your attention. We'll be giving you a note. The note I'm using, I'm also going to share with you, both electronic copy and otherwise. You know, we have come a long way on LPG. There was a time when an LPG cylinder was an item which was rare, which you had to stand in a queue for, etc. When the Honorable Prime Minister assumed office,
So you said below 60, below 65?
by today it's 60 or thereabout, 61 or 62. Yeah. But please let me complete, then you ask me whatever question you want. So there was a time when, you know, you had to stand in a queue to get a cylinder, you had to use influence. Today, you can actually SMS, you can also do what we call IVRS, voice call. You can send a WhatsApp message and they will deliver a cylinder to you at your residence. The total coverage of LPG for the population, it stood at around 14 crores or 140 million in 2014. That has gone up to around 33 crores or 330 million. So if you go by the yardstick that you have one cylinder per connection per household, then the entire country is covered. In fact, I would say there's more than 100% LPG coverage. In addition to that, we have an Ujjwala scheme. The Ujjwala scheme was introduced in 2016, and the Ujjwala scheme also has something like 100 million plus or 10 crore plus beneficiaries. And the advantage of the Ujjwala scheme and overall LPG connections is that today our brothers and sisters, more our sisters, they can have freedom from firewood, coal, cow dung, cakes, etc., all the traditional cooking fuels, which is not the case even in some advanced countries, where even though the country is developed, the rural countryside is still using firewood and coal, etc. Now, the LPG infrastructure in India, I just wanted to tell you, we have now gone from 55.9% LPG coverage in 2014. We have gone today to 107.4% LPG coverage. Number of bottling plants of our OMCs or oil marketing companies has gone up from 187 to 212. Number of LPG distributors in India was in 2014, we had 13,896. Today we have 25,554. The domestic LPG connections I've told you, the consumption in the country of LPG through the OMCs, it's 17.6 million metric tons. In 2014, it has gone up now to 30.4 million metric tons. Now I want to come to LPG pricing, and I think this is one of the subjects on which I wanted to have this exchange with you. The price of LPG. Now, LPG is the product which comes out of a refinery. When crude oil is refined, LPG comes out, petrol and diesel are also products of refineries. the international price of LPG, which has been determined by the Saudi CP international benchmark, has been going up. It went up from 415 metric tons, dollars per metric ton to $712 per metric ton, but we never passed it on to the consumer. We kept it exactly where it is, and I think the rate of increase has been moderated and absorbed by the OMCs. As a result of which, last year, the OMCs had a loss of 28,000 crores because of the LPG are keeping the price of the gas cylinder, the 14.2 kilo gas cylinder under control, providing Ujjwala subsidy. They incurred a loss of 28,000 crores, and the government, through its provisioning, through the budget, we gave them 22,000 crores back. I just wanted to give you this background. Now, more recently, on 5th October 2023, the targeted subsidy on an LPG cylinder increased to 300 rupees, which in other words, and in the effective cost of a Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana cylinder came down to about 503 rupees, and for an ordinary cylinder to 803 rupees. Now, this has resulted in a cumulative loss of 41,338 crores last year. 41,338 crores. Madam, I'll be giving you these notes also. Whatever I'm using, you will have the same information. I'm just trying to set so that you can ask me questions. As a result of which, what has happened is that the Saudi CP international benchmark rose by 63% from 385 metric tons in July 23 to $629 per metric ton in February 25. It was a 63% increase. Whereas we brought the price of Ujjwala and the cylinder down. So, you know, you are two simultaneously competing trend. International prices going up by 63% and our prices coming down. This is what resulted in the loss for 43,000 crores. So what are we planning to do? The statistics will give you all the papers, this thing. You compare the price of LPG cylinder in India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal. Even if you equalize the currencies in terms of the exchange rates, India, as I said, a normal cylinder was 803 for the normal cylinder. LPG cylinder 503. In Pakistan, it was 1,080.59. In Bangladesh, 557.81. In Sri Lanka, 1218.09. In Nepal, 1206.39. The cost of cooking gas per day for a family, average family of 4 in India, was ₹6 and 10 paise. And the cost of cooking per day in a non-beneficiary, that is somebody who's not an Ujjwala beneficiary, is 14 rupees 58 paisa. Now, by any yardstick, that's a very reasonable price. And if you look at the cost comparison with neighboring countries, I've already given you ours. The thing has come down by 23% in our price at a time when global prices were riding. Pakistan, it rose by 5.53%, Bangladesh on 1 rupee 11 paise, Sri Lanka by 10 rupees 60 paise, Nepal by 5 rupees 73, in India it's come down. No, these are percentage. India it's come down 23.74. These are all percentage figures. I'm going to give them to you. Now, what has happened in Pakistan and all those countries, I'm giving you. What we have decided, therefore, is that the average price, not the average, the price per cylinder of LPG will increase by 50 rupees. In other words, from 500 it will go up to 550, and the other one will go up from 803 to 853. Now, this is a step which we will review as we go along. As it is, you know, we review these every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And therefore, the excise duty that you have seen increase is not to go on to the consumer on petrol and diesel. As I kept telling you, that excise increase is intended to compensate the oil marketing companies for the 43,000 rupees, 43,000 crore that they have incurred as a loss on the gas part of it. Now you will say, what will happen to petrol and diesel? As I told you, the inventories that they are carrying are 45 days old. The inventories are very clearly at a much higher price. My expectation is that petrol prices, even if they increase beyond 60, because this is an international evolving situation, they are unlikely to go back to 75. And if they are in the vicinity of 60 or 65, Madam was asking this question, is it 60 or 60? Just now I think it's 61 point something. But if 62, that's 61.89 is what I heard. Even if it goes up to 65, I think the oil marketing companies will have the cushion or the, what do you call it, the bandwidth, or the headroom in order to look at price moderation, but not in the upward category, in the downward category. So I have given you a backgrounder. I'm going to give you these notes also.
This LPG, you have said that 50 rupees have been increased.
In the LPG cylinder.
In the LPG.
Yeah. But I also wanted to tell you that what is happening in some of the non-BJP states, where the difference between a BJP state and a non-BJP state, let me give you Chennai, the difference between Itanagar and Chennai is rupees 9 and 93 paise. 9 rupees 93 with nearly 10 rupees difference in the cost of a cylinder. In between Lucknow and Telangana, it is 12 rupees 76 paise. Between Gandhinagar and Bangalore, it's 8 rupees 22 paise. Between Panaji and Kerala, it's 11 rupees 5 paise. Guwahati, it's 105 rupees. The difference is 6 rupees 82. So there is a, between BJP and non-BJP states, it's a very clear difference. Today I've seen that Karnataka has raised their price. I haven't. First statement. No, I have the here. Yes, I have this notification issued by the Karnataka government dated 1st April. I only saw it today because. I'm just coming. Yes, correct. For the words and figures 18.44%, the words figure 21.17% shall be substituted. Yeah, but you know, Karnataka, I'm not surprised. They are not stopping at fuel only. They've taken milk prices also, etc. So we'll leave that aside. So now again, I want to give you the overall picture. My assessment is that as we go forward from here, international prices of gas also are expected to come down. By next year and year after, they will come down substantially. But since we are giving such a comfortable cushion to our companies, I've already told them this will be in their notes, what's happening in Pakistan, Bangladesh, all the countries. So this 50 rupees increase per cylinder will be for the Ujjwala beneficiary, and overall for the non-Ujjwala beneficiary, it will be again 50 rupees, will go up from 803 to 853. Again, this will be reviewed every 15 days or 1 month, whichever is the system. And in the case of petrol and diesel, as I said, if this trend remains, then the price is likely to be revised by them. It's a deregulated sector. They don't have to come to us. हाँ जी, आप कुछ सवाल पूछ रहे थे. हाँ जी, एक मिनट. किस चीज का प्राइस? Tomorrow morning. So you are getting a first preview into it. 50 रुपए पर सिलेंडर भैया बढ़ेगा, वो भी at a time like this. This is really to deal with that 41,833 crore loss that they've made. So the excise duty rate is for that, not for. Relax.
Sir, 830 crores or 330 crores?
Huh? 41,000 some 800 some crores यार. मैं एग्जैक्ट फिगर आपको इसमें मिल जाएगा. Digitally sent also यार. I'll give it to you in a minute because I don't want you to be. मेरे अपने notes का है. Just give me a second. It is 41,338 crores. Exact.
How long would it take for this amount to be recouped through the excise duty?
I don't know the calculation. It's, I think, about 16,000 crores in...
So, I mean, our anticipation is about a year.
Year or
During
so.
the course of this financial year, 25, 26, we should be able to find ways to recoup that money.
No, we are committed to giving the money to the oil companies, because the oil companies have incurred it on our behalf as a subsidy. But whether the full 41,000 will be done or 16,000, that remains to be seen. That's government has enough headroom for that.
So this price will not be effective for non-Ujjwala scheme, right?
50 rupees per cylinder for Ujjwala and non-Ujjwala. Ujjwala अगर 500 का मिलता है वो 550 का हो जाएगा, दूसरा 803 का, so 853 का हो जाएगा.
Sir, how much will we be able to see? You just made some reference. So, and how much can we expect to this excise hike?
No, देखिए ऐसा है, our commitment, when they incurred a loss of 28,000 crores, we gave them 22,000 crores back. Okay? Now this is very important for you to fact this point, that we are committed so that the companies don't have to bear the brunt for it. They are commercially run company. So कितना होगा, कितना उनको finally उतना ही मिलेगा जितना loss उसके आसपास ही मिलेगा.
So this increase of excise policy, the Congress party is saying.
Sir, commercial का भी
मैंने बोला ना भैया 50 रुपए उज्ज्वला का नहीं, कमर्शियल का तो वैसे ही कम हो रहा है यार. कमर्शियल तो हम करते ही नहीं, वो तो मार्केट करती है. वैसे पीछे 42 रुपए कम हुआ है कमर्शियल का.
Increase of this excise
compensation this financial year. We'll find ways of compensation.
We will find ways, यार. अरे भाई, one request, one by one, each one of you will benefit, and I am also now. I will be able to absorb and respond also by one. Please ask whatever.
on English and Hindi, what the Congress party is reacting on this, the Congress is saying that it's robbery by Modi government when crude oil prices are at $60 a barrel, the government raises excise duty. In whose pockets is this money going? This is what the
उसको बोलो, whoever has given you this reaction, say my response to that is, the Congress's way of doing business was to float oil bonds for 1,40,000 crores, out of which we are still paying back 3,10,000 crores. We are still paying back, which is a robbery and which is as far as this is concerned, tell them we are not increasing the cost or the price being charged to the consumer. If these trends remain, the fundamental arithmetic of oil diplomacy is that the inventory which is being carried by the OMCs today is 45 days old. That was brought at an average price of $75 to $80. When the $60 has to kick in still, if it remains $60, the price will be lowered. इतना समझा दो तो कांग्रेस पार्टी के लिए काफी होगा. मैं देखिए, प्रश्न ये उठता है कि कांग्रेस का काम करने का तरीका ये है कि जब वो सत्ता में थे, उनके वित्त मंत्री ने ऑयल बॉन्ड्स फ्लोट किए थे. 1,40,000 करोड़ के ऑयल बॉन्ड फ्लोट किए, जिसमें हमें अभी 3,10,000 करोड़ वापस लौटाना पड़ रहा है. जो ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज होती है, इनकी जो ऑयल की इन्वेंट्री होती है वो 6 हफ्ते होती है, 45 डेज होती है. तो 6 हफ्ते वाली इन्वेंट्री जो है वो 60 में नहीं खरीदी गई थी, वो 75 प्लस में खरीदी गई थी, $75 पर बैरल. और कुछ जो अर्ली जनवरी का रेट था $83 था. तो हम उस पे चल रहे हैं. ये $60 अगर रेट आज हुआ है, अगर $60 रहा तो संभव है कि आने वाले समय में ऑयल प्राइसेस, जो ऑयल और डीजल प्राइसेस कम होंगी. इट स्टैंड्स टू रीजन. या one by one.
Can you please help us understand as to why government has imposed excise duty on petrol and diesel? Is it because international fuel prices are falling and that could have given companies a gain, so government wants to mop up that?
No, not at all. The reason is very simple. The companies, those companies which will get or which have incurred a loss of 43,000 crores have to be compensated. Simple as that. So let me come to that. See, I explained to you the overall loss was 41,338 crores. Okay, that money has to be compensated. We stand committed to compensate. When they lost 28,000 crores, we gave them 22,000 crores. As far as international fuel prices are concerned, petrol, that's entirely separate. I told you we are carrying an inventory of 45 days old. That inventory was bought at $75. So when this comes down, when the current inventory, current holding is 60 or 63, 65, obviously there will be headroom to reduce it.
No, sir, but what we are saying, what I trying to understand is that petrol and LPG are not related.
But the company is the same.
I know, but you have not compensated. You are not compensating them yet. You are only talking about it. Last
No,
year
we
also,
are.
government has talked
No,
about
it's
it.
an
Government
ongoing.
has not compensated them.
It's-
Second, sir, just related question and last question. Is it because government is anticipating tougher days ahead? Because during COVID also, what happened when prices crashed? Government imposed additional duties to mop up the gains whichever were coming because of the gains several times. So, is it just a preparation for the difficult days ahead because of Trump's tariff?
No. Trump's tariffs, nothing. Trump's tariffs. Look,
That you might need more resources
No.
to support many other
Please.
welfare programs.
You asked a question. Let me answer it. If you have an alternate thesis, I'm willing to sit down in a half-day seminar with you. It's a very simple issue. Simple issue is the process of compensation is not a one-time action. It's an interactive process. All right. We have, as I said, last time they had losses of 28,000 crores. We gave them 22,000 crores. Now also they are not coming to us and saying we are preparing the ground for whether it's done in this financial year. This question, Secretary was brave enough to say it will be done in this financial year. I don't know. This is unrelated. The 2 rupees excise additional which the finance ministry has imposed, we will not pass that on to the consumer. That is the first thing. That is being done in order to the companies. Now, the companies will take that and the companies will also be reimbursed by us for the loss they have committed.
So it's very difficult to understand as to how LPG subsidy is linked to petrol, diesel, excise duty.
No, again, LPG subsidy is not
But if
listed.
it had directly gone to companies, I would have understood the math. But this is beyond comprehension.
No,
as to
when-
how government is taking away the money with the general lecture that it will someday be compensated.
No, hold on. I think we should be civil about this. There's not a general lecture. I'll give you the whole copy of the note. It is not a unrelated and yet it is not directly related. Let me explain what to you. The company which gives LPG is also in the petrol and diesel business. They are into the refineries. The LPG is a product of the refinery. So they are buying crude oil at a particular price. The inventory I'm holding today is of a crude which is average price $75. So again, I'm trying to tell you is if this $60 price kicks in, we will have the headroom to bring down prices of petrol and diesel. Now you're saying, is that because the first news that all the channels ran was fascinating. Excise duty gone up by 2 rupees, price to the consumer will go up. I was then left 20 minutes calling all of you saying by price to the consumer is not going up, price to the consumer is not going up. And now your question is a very interesting one and it's partly philosophical. Am I preparing for headwinds in case some global thing? Answer is no. Answer is no. It's as simple as that. We are the 2 rupees excise duty has been imposed by the finance ministry. It will not be passed on to the consumer. It will come into the general kitty and it will be utilized for reimbursing the
LPG losses.
LPG losses of the same companies. So please add to this.
Along with the 50
Yes, 1 minute, ma'am. Let the secretary who does this full time. I also try to do it full time.
So look, the additional excise duty goes to central coffers, right? It goes to the Consolidated Fund of India. Any claims which are eventually approved for reimbursing the losses incurred by the OMCs on LPG also come from the Consolidated Fund.
That is the point.
One can keep trying to do, in my mind, I can keep trying to draw a line between the two. It's never that simple. It's not that there's some separate escrow account in which something goes. Everything will go to the Consolidated Fund of India. Thereafter, and every rupee to be spent from there follows a process of approvals. It is appraised by the Ministry of Finance. It goes to the cabinet. All those processes are yet to happen. But our track record is
once we make a commitment, otherwise what will happen? And well, let me be very frank with you. You see, if the story goes out, like one day, as soon as this excise 2 rupees increase came on, all the channels were carrying, consumer, it will be dearer. I mean, I said it will not be dearer, it will be exactly the same. Then I also had to say, bhai, chalte, it will be dearer the other way around. It will be less expensive if this trend holds. No, 1 minute. Somebody also said, no, this excise has been imposed on exports. I don't know where that story came from also. So the idea of having this interactive discussion with you is to clear your cobwebs, and if there still is something down, we will discuss it. But this is to...
How much money can they
Can you let him come back?
plus the rupees 50 increase in LPG cylinder
Tentatively, how?
will be used to compensate the oil price.
Hang on.
नहीं 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 नहीं
अभी आप जो कह रहे थे ना,
No, it's not that. It's slightly different. Let me explain this.
एक महीने में how much
Well,
revenue-
can you let us complete? Can you
Somebody's asked me a
हाँ, भाई,
question.
same question.
No, hold on. Now, look, listen. I don't like to play the monitor here, but please, there has to be some decorum that everybody else is here. Please answer it here, please.
See, there is something which relates to last year, which, as the Honorable Minister explained, is about 41,000 odd crore, right? Has that ended this year?
No.
No. There is a law. There is under recovery on LPG, which is going on a concurrent basis even as we speak. So the 50 rupees increase actually addresses the concurrent under recovery. It is not addressing the backlog. The backlog remains where it is. For the backlog, we will be making a request. A request goes to the Ministry of Finance. They process it, goes to the cabinet. So there's a whole process which goes through.
The other thing, let me tell you, when you're dealing with something like the Consolidated Fund of India, once it's in the Consolidated Fund of India, you can't say this compartment or that compartment. The idea is that the government believes, you see, the normal expectation is that all prices have to come down. But sometimes when you have a situation like this, you must have the ability also, especially when your domestic LPG price is so much cheaper than the rest of the world. That's why I gave you those long statistics, cheaper than in the neighboring countries, cheaper. So we have, as a measure for the time being, raised it by 50 rupees per LPG cylinder. As gas prices become, you know, my own view is that from a few months from now, more and more gas, we may bring it down. We bring it down to 50, we'll review it. Yeah. One minute. Now, you.
सर प्राइस पे सऊदी सीपी प्राइस पे है सर देयर इज एंटिसिपेशन कि सऊदी सीपी प्राइस बढ़ेगा, तो ये भी क्या कंसीडरेशन में है?
Just now, Minister answered that question.
But sir, isn't it further compounding the problem of OMCs? They have a backlog of 41,383 from the last year. Plus now they have to bear the subsidy or the excise duty hike as well, because it will be reflecting into the bottom lines or the profitability of the companies, you know.
Let me answer
50
that.
rupees is not meant for the previous coverage, or neither it is going towards meeting the
First of all, let me
absorption
answer
of the
that question.
excise duty.
Yeah.
You know, it's for the-
Madam,
Sir, please.
compounding the problems of the of the OMCs. You know how much
कोई
profit?
और use कर लीजिए,
No,
पर मतलब तो वही है ना,
नहीं,
सर।
मतलब तो ये पिछले साल उनका क्या प्रॉफिट था? 1,59,000 करोड़.
प्रॉफिट करना
और
गुनाह हो गया
नहीं,
ना।
गुनाह नहीं, अच्छा हो गया.
तो आप उनको मतलब
अरे my friend, let me tell you, 31st मार्च का वो उनका क्या हुआ, वो जो क्वार्टर एंड हुआ है, उसमें भी उनका प्रॉफिट अच्छा रहेगा. अभी अगर 50 रुपए बढ़ाना है तो आई एम सो हैप्पी टू से यूर ब्लूमबर्ग और रॉयटर्स, which one?
Sir, immaterial.
No. I'm so happy that an international agency is so worried about the profitability of the OMCs. I deeply appreciate that.
50 rupees I'm not bothered.
Then-
If it's reflecting the market prices, that's fair enough. But 2 rupees, they have already absorbed the loss of 41,000.
Hold on.
Last year, 7 rupees per liter.
नहीं.
Sir, वो तो उसकी profitability पे ही जाएगा ना, और इससे cannot-
अरे सुनिए. Okay,
Sir, last time petrol and diesel prices were reduced in March of 2023-24. The crude price were at $83-84.
Yeah.
And they, according to you, are now at 75. So,
it's what happens is we reduce the excise not twice, thrice. May 22, it's a continuous process. You reduce the excise when the price is at somewhere, then it comes down, goes up. All I'm saying is the potential for reduction, whereas the price goes before 75 is also there, but it's not for me, it's a deregulated sector, the OMCs will do it. That's the point I'm coming to. Insofar as whether they have the headroom, whether we're compounding, I don't think the OMCs have any difficulty in absorbing that 2 rupees excise. In fact, all the discussions that we've had for them prior to this. So I'm so happy to say a distinguished member of the fourth estate trying to argue on behalf of the OMCs. OMCs are very content with what we discussed.
But sir, they are the taxpayers' money, na?
So they are, so they will, they're answerable to it. So you are the,
LPG Ujjwala cylinder hike will be implemented from today onwards.
Sir, how many liters of petrol and diesel we sell daily?
Sir, will there be any impact?
An example.
Please address questions to me.
no, you should answer that. How many, these are factual questions. How many liters of petrol and diesel do you sell in a day?
I think in a year we sell about 16,000 crore. 116, 16.
1,000 crore liters of petrol and diesel combined.
Sir, just one question. Instead of hiking the excise duty, and then going through a mechanism to give a part of that money back to the OMCs to compensate for their previous LPG losses, wouldn't it have been simpler to not hike the excise duty and let them make an additional margin for
You're taking money from me to make good losses, you know.
and then
फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री में वैकेंसी इसको भिजवा दो. I would recommend it. एक मिनट. Look, I love talking to you guys. It's always very instructive. The whole productivity of this exercise, we have called you here to explain to you and explain what has been done, what is going to be done from tomorrow, etc. Okay? Let me tell you, so far, we are the one country in the world which, thanks to the Prime Minister's forward-looking policy, we have been able to navigate this global turbulence rather well. Okay? We are the only country in the world where prices over a 3-year reference period on petrol and diesel have actually come down. We are the lowest priced country in the world for domestic cooking fuel. Okay, so we've been able to do all that. Whether we do it through one means or another means, it's all the same. I deeply respect you, say, couldn't you have done this? But this is not the kind of exercise we are in. This is a decision. I sprung into action because the finance ministry notification came at
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. I anticipated it. I didn't know what time it will come. I requested you to come at 4 o'clock to explain to you in a very candid, open, transparent manner what we are doing. Let me also, I think, don't mind taking 1 or 2 more questions. Let me also explain to you my own personal view. I see international prices softening. Pankaj, you agree with me? Over a period of time. So what we are doing now for the current phase is to, well, you can say equip ourselves, insulate ourselves, but this is a very small thing. If you say, why didn't you allow the oil marketing companies to take the whole responsibility? Well, as you say, they are commercially run operation answerable to the stakeholder, but we are also 50% part of that, something like that, no? So we always try and accommodate one with the other, and so far they have done very well. Last year 1,59,000 crores. So when we end this financial year, utna hi hoga ya thoda kam hoga. They're all in the pink of health. So they will do well.
Do you foresee
एक मिनट one by one.
वही पुराना सवाल कि सर आम आदमी को राहत कब मिलेगी, अभी बता दीजिए सर.
आम आदमी को तो राहत मिली हुई, इतना सस्ता पेट्रोल डीजल और कब होगा?
कब होगा सर?
देखो, मैंने आपको बोला यार, आम आदमी को जब ये आम आदमी के साथ पीठ जुड़ जाता है ना, तो मैं घबरा जाता. फिर वो जो डायलॉग है वो थोड़ा सा क्रांतिकारी हो जाता है. दूसरी तरफ, look, it's like this. As I told you, we have the lowest prices. We are the only country where prices have come down over a 3-year period. और किसी कंट्री में कम नहीं हुए. क्यों है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने अपना एक्साइज कम किया. बट मैंने बड़ी मेहनत के साथ आपको ये कन्विंस करने की कोशिश की कि अभी इन्वेंट्री जो है वो 75 प्लस भी है. जनवरी अभी आने से पहले हम लोग बात कर रहे थे आपस में, भाई जनवरी के बिगिनिंग में क्या क्रूड प्राइस है? 83 थे, उसके बाद 75 हुआ. सो हमने क्या किया है, अगर ये 60 वाला ट्रेंड जो है ब्रेंट और ये चीजें ये रहा तो फायदा नहीं है. They'll get the note यार, what is the price in other countries, giving you स्पेन में इतना बड़ा, जर्मनी में इतना बड़ा, all that you get. अगर ये रहा 60 के आसपास का ट्रेंड, और मैं आपको रेंज में 60, 65, 68 रहा, तो obviously आम आदमी can then expect further softening.
So government will further not decrease excise duty further.
नहीं, you want me to answer questions on behalf of the finance minister? यार क्या मैं थोड़ा ना एक्सरसाइज करता? अरे नहीं, ऐसा सुनो यार, गवर्नमेंट का ऐसा है, we are a response. मैं फिर एक्साइज बढ़ा दूंगा.
No, because we have seen
sir, do you foresee an impact
One by one. He's asking the question. I know you want. I'm so happy. I'm feeling very happy that this is a vibrant press conference. एक मिनट. I'm a very important for petroleum and diesel. I'm a very important part. I'm the line minister. Yeah. अच्छा, आप बोलो. I'm not in the business. Parliament में भी वो थंबी दो रहा है from DMK asked me, why don't you give an assurance that you will do more? मैंने कहा, I'm not in the business of giving assurance. देखिए मैं आपको बोल रहा हूं ये जो एक्साइज 2 रुपीस का इंक्रीज हुआ इसका मैंने रैशनल बता दिया क्यों हुआ. अगर आप मेरे से पूछते आपको क्या लगता है आगे, तो मैं सोचता आगे जाके ऐसे नहीं होगा. पर ये एश्योरेंस वर्ड जो है ये मेरी डिक्शनरी में नहीं है. जब से मैं मंत्री बना हूं तब से मैं आई टॉक अबाउट, नहीं सही सीरियसली बोल रहा हूं. मैं कौन होता है एश्योरेंस देना? ये डिसीजन मेरा थोड़ा, मेरे से ऊपर का पे ग्रेड का है डिसीजन. तो मैं फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को तो मैं नहीं कर सकता. अरे वन बाय उसका जवाब हो गया.
Sir, do you foresee any impact which has been impact on the Indian market because of
On which market?
Indian market because of the imposition of tariff by the Trump administration?
और भाई now you're going into पीयूष जी into where मैं तो अगर आप एनर्जी की बात करो, पीयूष जी कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्टर हैं, आप उनको कहिए प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस ऐसे बुलाए और बात करें. मैं आपको एनर्जी का बताता हूँ. देखिए एक मिनट देखिए, जहां तक एनर्जी का सवाल है, द प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने कहा दे वुड लाइक मोर एंड मोर एनर्जी टू कम ऑन द ग्लोबल मार्केट. और उनकी कमिंग इन बिफोर ही अस्यूम्ड ऑफिस इन जनवरी ऑलरेडी मोर एंड मोर एनर्जी वाज कमिंग ऑन द इंटरनेशनल मार्केट. मैं आपको बताता हूं, लेट मी गिव यू समथिंग. I have been saying for a long time that apart from OPEC plus, more and more energy is coming on the international markets from the Western Hemisphere. मैंने आपको ब्राजील का उदाहरण दिया कई बार. 3 मिलियन बैरल पर डे वो प्रोड्यूस करते थे. 140,000 barrels additional is coming on. Guyana, Suriname, Canada, US, which is the largest producer, they produce 13 million barrels a day. उनका 1.6 million barrels और आज मैंने सुबह पढ़ा that the Saudis have decided, the OPEC has decided to put another 1 million barrels on the market. So more oil is coming on. So overall, I keep coming back to the same position that today there is more oil available and that the consumers or the importers or the we are by the way the third largest consuming market, okay, consumers of energy. So for countries like that, it gives you a little bit of comfort with more energy being available, because when the energy is less or is being held back, then prices tend to go up. At the current situation, I think even the Saudi Asian premium came down by $2.30, I read this morning. Okay, I can. Okay, now, yes, please.
Sir, regarding the BJP rule states and non-BJP rule states that we are speaking about, the LPG cylinders, आपने बोला 500 से 550 पहुंच जाएगा उज्ज्वला एंड नॉन उज्ज्वला. ये जो फिगर्स है सर, ये दिल्ली के हैं या फिर नॉन बीजेपी रूल स्टेट्स में किस तरीके से इसका
उज्ज्वला स्कीम के
803 and 503 were Delhi numbers. 853 and 553 again are Delhi numbers.
So what will be annual collection after
from excise increase ballpark?
That question is just answered.
You just answered it, yeah.
32,000.
They have told you what the sales of petrol and diesel are in a year, and those are PPAC numbers. You can also
उसमें कह रहे आप एश्योरेंस दे रहे नंबर में, कल कंजम्पशन कम जाएगा, इंश्योरेंस ये कैसे देगा? इसकी पेंशन से काटोगे, मुझे तो मिल नहीं रही. तो क्या यार, we can look, please, the beauty of this exercise, we can share the exact figures with you, but if you want us to give an assurance, कल कंजम्पशन बढ़ भी सकती है, कम भी हो सकती है. But thank you very much. I deeply.
MPs की सैलरी हाइक हुआ है
यार, MP का सैलरी हाइक हुआ, वो कह रहे हैं कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग के साथ हुआ. कई MPs हमारे हैं, उनसे बात करोगे कि तो बहुत कम मिला एक्सेट्रा. यार ये थैंक यू वेरी मच. पंकज कम.
Well, that was Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri there clarifying the rationale behind that 2 rupee hike in excise duty on petrol and diesel. It's also important to note that there has been a 50 rupee hike per cylinder of LPG, both under the Ujjwala scheme, which is the subsidized cylinders, as well as the non-Ujjwala. So there will be a 50 rupee increase on that. And the minister basically saying that there are dues to the tune of 41,338 crore rupees that have been borne by oil marketing companies on account of non-payment of LPG-related dues. And so the excise duty hike as well as the LPG cylinder hike is going to be used to basically provide an assurance to oil marketing companies, because in the words of the minister, it is a commitment that the government has made to the oil marketing companies that the dues will be cleared ahead. So the rough calculation works out to about 32,000 crores. That is on account of the excise duty hike of 2 rupees on both a litre of petrol as well as a litre of diesel, and the 50 rupee increase on LPG cylinders. That should net approximately between 5,000 and 7,000 crores. The outstanding dues at this point in time, according to the minister, coming in at 41,338 crore rupees. So that explains the math and the rationale. But it is going to be important to also note, because remember, this is now going to the Consolidated Fund of India. And so, whether this is going to be given exactly in this quantum to oil marketing companies or not, that's what the minister is suggesting. So that's what we will go with, and that's what we will go by. But the money moves to the Consolidated Fund of India is what was clarified there by both the Minister Hardeep Puri as well as the Oil Secretary. And again, the big story, as we've been telling you here on CNBC-TV18 from the time that the news broke, there is going to be no change for you and me. So we will not have to pay more at the pump. So that is not going to be passed on to the consumer. So all of this will, in effect, be something that will be dealt with between the private players as well as the oil marketing companies. Well, that was the Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri. We are going to head into a break and return with more. Stay tuned.